But now I'm done with that. So, but I'm in my car. I'm ready for you.
Okay, it's coming right back to you. Any second, it'll pop up live on both of our Facebook pages because I tagged you in it.
Perfect.
And I don't look at it there because it's 20-second delay. Facebook people, look who we have here today. Somebody I'm so proud to get to know. We got Willie, Will C. Clifton right here. Welcome to the show, Will C.
Thank you for having me. It's really good to be here. So yeah, Will C's fine. So
Will C. Yes.
We'll see you.
Will C's an actor, a comedian. Oh my gosh. And you started the Veterans of Comedy. Is that right?
That is correct.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm actually a veteran myself. My group is made up of all veterans. We're all veterans, and now we're veteran comedians. So I myself am a 3-branch veteran, having served in the Air Force and Marine Corps and the Army. So
thank you for your service.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. So yeah, an actor, comedian. I'm a writer. I think I've been there, done that. So
wow. Tell me why you got into comedy to begin with.
I always liked it. I was kind of like the chubby kid growing up. So, I was the class clown. I was the guy that, well, if they're going to make fun of me, I'm going to learn to have them laughing with me instead of at me. So when I got off in the military, the Air Force was fun. I was still the funny guy, but it was fun. When I got in the Marine Corps, it was a lot harder. But there was a comedy club in La Jolla, California called the Comedy Store. And my buddy said, I guess had been to an open mic, or they call it the Best of San Diego. And he's like, hey, you should really go see if you could get up there. I'm like, I've never done comedy in my life. He's like, you're always cracking us up. So I called the Comedy Store, and I got a date of January 4th, 1995. And I brought all my Marine Corps buddies, and I got up on stage, and what I thought was the most killer set ever, I'm sure was horrible. It was horrible. I mean, it was bad. But my buddies are laughing at me, so you think you're great. I came off stage and I ran into another comic at the time named Bobby Lee. Bobby told me I sucked and I should probably just stick with the Marine Corps. So I'm like, well, okay, then I'll see you next week, because basically you tell me I can't do something, then I'm gonna keep on coming back. So I just kept on going back, and I finally, you start writing better, and I got back here to Kansas City. In London, there was a comedy club here called Stanford and Sons Comedy Club. And
what was it called?
Stanford and Sons. It was one of the longest running comedy clubs in the country outside of the Comedy Store, believe it or not. That was family owned and stayed family owned until it finally everybody died. But the club is no more. But they gave me a lot of opportunity. And so being a house MC and then running the open mic, and little by little I was coming up, and I would teach a little class on how to just hold the mic right and stuff like that before shows. But I finally got an opportunity to come to LA I was going to come for 3 months. And my buddy called me in Kansas City. He's like, hey, I've written this movie. I'd like you to come out and be a military consultant on this movie. Be here for 3 months. He goes, I wrote a small part for you. Are you interested? And I'm like, well, of course, because it's comics. You want the movie credits because it helps you get paid more out there. So I'm like, all right, I'll come to California for 3 months. Sure. My sister was out there, so I knew I had a place to stay, and it was going to work out just fine. So I'm driving to California, and my buddy calls me, and he's like, this is 2007. And he says, hey, Will, sorry, there's a writer's strike going on. I've had to scratch the project. I'm like, man, I'm almost to California. He's like, I don't know what to tell you. So I called my wife, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm coming home. And she was like, slow down, partner. I've already kissed you goodbye. Mentally, I'm ready for you to be gone for about 3 months. So I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but okay. So she's like, just go out there and figure it out. So I called my sister. My sister was 6 months pregnant at the time. And she's like, just come on. You're going to be here for 3 months anyway. Stay till the baby's born. We'll figure it out. So I'm like, okay. So when I got there, everybody's like, go sign up with Central Casting. Get your foot in the door, background actor. And I'd done some background work in the past, so I knew what it was. And so I went to Central Casting and I signed up. And they're like, hey, Will, we hope you have a lot of patience. It takes the average actor like 5 or 10 years to even break into this business. I'm like, I got 3 months. And they're like, well, good luck with that. But I'm seriously, I'm only in town for 2 weeks, and I get a phone call from Central Casting, and they're like, "Will, Absolute Vodka is sponsoring Kanye West on his world tour, and we're shooting a commercial. Would you like to be in this commercial?" And I'm like, "Sure. What do I have to do?" And they're like, "Well, you're non-union. You're just going to walk around in the background. No big deal." And I'm like, "Oh, I can do that." I'm like, "What's that pay?" They're like $56 for 8 hours, and I'm like, "What, like $6 an hour?" They're like, "No, 7, dummy. You want the job or not?" And I'm like, "Okay, I want it." So I drive to the set, and I'm like, I'm so lost. I don't know what I'm doing. And so I wander in the wardrobe department, standing there lost, trying to get directions on where I need to go. And here comes Kanye West with his entourage. And he walks up to me and he looks at the wardrobe guy. He's like, "Who is this guy?" And they're like, "Kanye, Mr. West, we're so sorry. He's a non-union background actor." They're like, "You have to go away." And I'm like, I don't know where to go. But then Kanye's like, "Slow down, chubby. Hey, I like the way you look, fatty." He's like, I'm like, "Are you calling me fat? He's like, "I want you to be the bouncer in the commercial." That guy was a SAG actor. He was in hair and makeup getting ready to go on set. Kanye walked in the hair and makeup, says, "I don't need you anymore. You're going to get paid your day rate, but this guy's going to replace you." I got Taft-Hartley right on the spot, automatic SAG. I made ridiculous amounts of money on that commercial because Absolute was sponsoring that. They were showing that commercial on the airplanes going over the ocean. The five major cities were playing this, and I'm just like, every day I'd go to the mailbox, there'd be a check, and I'm like, wow, this is insane. But it was enough money to cause me to stay. And in the process of staying in California, I landed my first agent. And with my first agent, I landed a show called Mansers on Spike TV. And I did that for 4 years. And in the meantime, I was on The Office, Monk, My Name is Earl, Knight Rider, The Sons of Anarchy, movie after movie, commercials. And it just blew my mind. Every time I would think about leaving California, I would land another part. And so I'm like, I guess this is where I'm supposed to be. And then my mom got sick. And so she with Alzheimer's and frontal lobe dementia. And so I was bouncing back and forth between LA and Kansas City all the time. And finally, as it was getting closer to the end, we came back here more regularly. And so then kind of got used to being back in Kansas City, trying to help my dad and stuff. And so we bought a house back here in Kansas City last September 1st. But I'm still bouncing. I go 2 weeks in Kansas City, 2 weeks in LA. So I still I stay with my sister in LA for 2 weeks, and then I come back home for 2 weeks, back to Kansas City. So, but it's been great though. I mean, in all honesty, the acting career has been incredible. And I'm sorry, I talk a lot, so cut me off. The comedy thing has been amazing. I mean, I've been doing comedy for 25 years now, and I always thought that if I stopped having fun with it, that I would quit, and I honestly just enjoy making people laugh. I really do. This Veterans of Comedy thing, we started that in 2014. And here we are 6 years later. And in that 6 years, I've been all around the world with this troupe. I've performed at the Pentagon for the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I have written a series called Combat to Comedy that helps transitioning veterans that are being med boarded out. They're medically being retired out of the military. They've been hurt, whether it's visible or invisible wounds. We use laugh to kind of gap that bridge, that foundation that needs to be from soldier to civilian life. And we found that it really works. Everybody has a story. Everybody needs to tell their story. And this is proven time and time again to let people be able to be in a room with people that relate. A lot of times when you go to therapists and you go to different things like that, it's somebody that doesn't understand the military. And I found that if you have people that have been there, done that, you're more open to likely to open up and to share your story. And not everybody's story obviously is going to be the same, but you're going to get similarity with people, and that similarity can, a lot of times help the healing process begin. Because I think it's no different, than when civilian grieving is grieving. And so when you join the military and they take you at 100%, and they should return you at 100%, when they don't, it's that first denial aspect. Then I'm angry with the government, with Uncle Sam. Then I'm bargaining, and I'm like, "Oh, please find me another job. Then let me stay in. Don't kick me out." And they still end up, they TDRL you, and they, put you on temporary just everything. And then finally, you're out, and here comes that depression. And you teeter totter on the anger, bargaining, depression. until you can get to a level of acceptance, you'll never heal. And I think that's where the comedy comes in. That's where, they say laughter is the best medicine, but I think we've proven it time and time again. So it's great to be able to do the Veterans of Comedy, do these things. Now, this quarantine, I will be honest with you, kind of, we were so busy, and then all of a sudden, just everything ripped out from underneath you. It's been kind of crazy, but we started thinking, like, what can we do during this time to still reach people? And so I don't sleep. I have insomnia really bad from my PTS and things that I suffer with. And so I started an insomnia show called Broken Z's. I do it every night at 1 a.m. Tonight will be the 58th episode. So episode 58 tonight at 1 a.m. every night with a fellow veteran of comedy, an Army brother of mine named Taifu Panda. And we're called the BathtubBadboyz, and we come in our bathrobes every night, and we have a different segment each night. So like Mondays, Make It Monday. So our viewers, they make whatever they made that day. They send us pictures of their food, and they send us the recipe, and then we pick a recipe that we vote on, and then we make it as the BathtubBadboyz. And so we try different people's recipes, and like tonight is Taco Tuesday, TALK instead of taco. So that we just different, like Wednesday is Wild Wild Wednesday. Throw It Away Thursday. Thursday's a great episode for us because we believe in positive energy produces positive results. So if you're having a bad week, we bring all of our problems to the table on Thursday night, and then we talk about it, and then we get over it. So we can go into the weekend in a positive manner. So when we're doing our Flashback Friday, or Saturday night is karaoke. So we do Serenade Saturday, and people send us the songs they like. We pick a theme, whether it be 80s love ballads or whatever, and we butcher them. I'm not a good singer, but we sure try hard. And then Sunday, we wrap up the week with a shout out Sunday. We, who we want to thank and who we, what we're thankful for. And always try to end the week on a positive note to go into the next week. So anyway, that's kind of like the condensed version of me. So
anyway. I just wanted to tell you, as one person, a military veteran that I am, of just one branch of the service, that I started doing comedy for veterans in Portland, Oregon at the VA hospital, little outpatient places. And then I had a weekly show in Manhattan at the VA hospital in the outpatient psych ward.
Nice.
And so I would do comedy. And then at the end, I would say, this is all real stuff I went through that was not funny when I went through it, but thanks to Shakespeare, I made you laugh.
Right.
So if any of you have anything you've been through and you're ready to try to see how to make it funny, come to the back of the room, and I get to help people take the pain in their life and make it funny. So we're very much aligned, you and I.
People, you can either, for instance, my mother she passed last April 18th.
Sorry.
And I'm a firm believer in taking the dark stuff and and finding funny in it. And people are like, oh, you shouldn't talk about your mom and Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff. I said, but as a comic, my mom did some of the funniest stuff that you can imagine. And I'm like, to not talk about it would be almost a dishonor to her, because it was, and my dad is the same way. Our sense of humor is so, I don't know if it's dark or twisted or whatever you want to call it, but I'll give you a, for instance, I went up to my dad's house and I was just talking to my dad about, how much I missed mom, and I want to do something to remember her by. And so I'm talking to my dad and I said, Dad, I'm thinking about getting a tattoo, maybe of mom's heartbeat right across my chest here, And my dad's like, well, it's just going to be a straight line, son. And I'm like, oh, wow. But you laugh and you find some kind of funny in the fact that my dad was able to say that, and I'm like, and he was so quick about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, Dad, I'm like, I don't even know if it's funny or not. I said, I'll try it on stage, and if they laugh, I'll credit you. If they don't, I'm crediting you either way, So, but it's just like like what I said before, everybody has a story, And you can either be an ostrich and stick your head in the ground and not let people in or not tell your story, or you can pull your head out and realize that your voice and your story might help somebody else heal. And I know it's cliche to say, even if it's one person, then you've done justice for that story. You know, you've taken your trauma, your trials, your tribulations, and have redirected it in a positive direction to help others. And I think when you're doing that, things will come. When you're focused in the right direction and your attention and your heart is to help others, the money will come. When you make money the focus of your endeavors, then you always struggle. And I'm like, I've learned that, you know what, the reason I have so much and I feel like I'm so blessed is because I didn't do it for me. You know, I really just wanted to help others. And in the process, it's blessed me more than I can ever even say, you know? So.
And I agree with you 10,000% right there on that point there. You know, you cannot outgive the world. Whenever you're doing
Absolutely.
when you do something with a pure heart, you know, and your motives are in check, there you will always get back far more than you think you're ever going to give. Like just doing this, I've been blessed so much just by interviewing people. I've been so humbled by the amount of experience. Oh my gosh. And they've taught me things. I mean, I'm learning.
That's real.
So is there anything you want to say to people about making it through their very first pandemic, Willie? Did you freeze up on me or did I freeze up on you? Something happened between here and there. I bet you'll come back any second. It says you're still there. What a great guy. Isn't he a great guy? It froze up on us. Oh, let's see if he comes back. Come back, Willie. You have to finish up and wrap up. Let's see here. I'm just going to say, I'm asking him if he wants to try to come back or if I should just close out because I'm not sure if it's on his end or not. When I see the lights blink, I think somebody's coming back on. Well, I think that he's not coming back. Something must have happened that bounced him off. So I'm just going to tell him I'll close out for you. So let's see here. I just want to run by. Catch him on YouTube in the bathrobe boy. Can't talk. Bathrobe Boys, BATHROBE Boys, BOYZ on YouTube. That's what he was talking about nightly at 1 a.m. And I think he's in Kansas City. So that's 1 a.m. Kansas City time. And check him out at theveteransofcomedy.com. He started that touring group for veterans of comedy going and doing military comedy around the world. And let's see here. He's been in 3 branches of the service. And he's a great guy. Oh my gosh. I love him so much. Everything he feels, his wit. He has a very sharp wit and goofiness about him. And he's toured the US and Canada. So you got to give it up for our boy, Willie. His phone decided to do a system thing, and I'm going to let him know. No problem. I got you covered. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Wasn't Willc amazing? I love him. Get out and support him. If you live by military people, go to his website, theveteransofcomedy.com, and book him to come out. He's the best. I 1000% back Willc and the Veterans of Comedy. So I'm going to get off of here and end this. Thank you so much for watching this. At 3 o'clock, I come back with Kurt Ryan. So you're going to love meeting him. And then while I have you on here, at 4 o'clock, we've got actor, comedian out of New York with 50 plus commercials. She's been in the Caroline's Comedy Club, Comedy Madness she competed in. She's going to be on here at 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock, right, in 45 minutes. You can watch Lakin Robin, Lakin Robin, her Instagram show. And 5 o'clock, Jimmy Celeste. And 6 o'clock, Theo Garfield. And 8 o'clock, Matt Gwynn. Thanks, you all. Bye. Thanks. This was my 201st interview. Thank you again, Willc.